Welcome everyone, Stealthy Sharon here, and today I'm bringing you a list of upcoming farming life sims for 2022. Let me know what ones you're looking forward to in the comments below. And if there are any that I miss, then also feel free to drop a comment. Alright, let's get to it. Spirit of the Island is a life sim set on a tropical island and is being developed by 1M Bits Horde. The goal here is to bring a once great tourist attraction back to its former glory. Everything you do goes into furthering the main objective of beautifying the island and bringing tourists back. Along with the standard things expected in a game like this, such as farming and fishing, players will also have to open up shops, museums, and other landmarks to attract sightseers. This will stimulate the economy, but there might also be a few who love the island so much that they want to make it their new home. Exploration is a key element as well, since there are not just one, but actually 14 different islands to discover, each with their own unique elements. And all this can be done with a friend. Actually, the Steam page even suggests that there is a story unique to those playing with a friend, which is such a cool touch that many games don't do. If this looks interesting, then you could try out the demo now. From what I played, it seems really well polished and will be a good time. And if you do end up liking it, then this one is already out in early access as of March 16th. Harvest Days is a game being developed by Family Devs, which are a father-son duo. The game utilizes a nice-looking, low-poly art style, and seems to boast a bunch of things to do. As these games go, you have farming, taking care of animals, fishing, and the likes. This game adds in vehicles too, which I thought added something that is not present in many farming life sims. It looks like the player will need to transport goods via a truck. The world itself looks like it will be vast, with plenty of areas to explore, with some of them listed being caves, a temple ruin, and a swamp. In the trailer, I was surprised with how alive the world looked. All the NPCs seemed to be doing something, and the animals looked like they had their own behaviors. Not sure how much of that is just footage captured solely for the game trailer, but it certainly looks like something I'd like to play. There was a demo that was released for Steam's Next Fest that I was able to try out. After playing for about an hour, I'd say there are still several rough edges that need to be smoothed over to make it stand out above other games like it in the genre. Harvest Days is scheduled for an early access release on April 5th, but they are hoping for a full release in Q4 of this year, and hopefully by then it will be a great game when it's completed. My Time at Sandrock is a sequel to My Time at Pacha, and is a fantasy life sim RPG that is being developed by Pacha Games. The player takes control of a builder who runs a workshop serving the community of Sandrock. Throughout the game, they'll do typical things like meet the townspeople, gather resources, and explore the beautiful and colorful world. There's also combat in the game where the player will traverse various dungeons and fight against bosses. Along the way, the player will upgrade their workshop to make more machines to help them in their mission, as well as hone their skills whether for combat, production, or social encounters. Of course, there will also be festivals to attend and finding that special someone to start a family with that usually comes with a game like this. If you loved My Time at Pacha, then check this one out when it releases sometime during early 2022, which I assume means at least within the first half of the year. Following up is One Lonely Outpost, developed by Aurorian Studios. This one is set on an alien world that has the player not only build up their own farm, but also a thriving colony of individuals. This game has been on my wishlist for a while now. I really like the different setting for the style of game, as well as the excellent art. Players can expect a batch of activities similar to other games in the genre, but one particular feature is how to develop your farm. Should you go all natural, or will you opt for a more synthetic touch with things like robotic chickens or mutated plants? As players expand their farm and work to bring in more residents, the community will grow, and the players will have access to more services and relationship building. One Lonely Outpost features multiplayer as well for up to 4 people to help in the journey of building a thriving colony on a barren world. Check this one out sometime during early 2022 as well. In a similar sci-fi feel, but one closer to home, we have Mars Base, being developed by Kwong Lei. This is a solo developer passion project of his love of Mars and Martian exploration. The game places the player as a botanist on the Red Planet, and they must grow food for the budding colony. This has them planting in greenhouses, but eventually players will need to find ways to coax the Martian soil into allowing plants to grow. As time passes, other colonists begin landing on Mars, aiding in the colony's mission and becoming the first human city on another planet. Of course, all of these colonists have their own stories to discover and interactions. In addition, players can go on expeditions and brave the harsh Martian environment to explore and conduct science, like racing rovers. The page even suggests exploring other celestial bodies, which I'm assuming is suggesting Phobos or Deimos. This game sounds like a perfect blend of things I'm interested in. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in as well, then hopefully we can expect to see it come June 2022. This release date was suggested by the developer in his Kickstarter, but also said it could be delayed into next year. SunnySide is being developed by Rainy Games. This one has a very anime feel to it and even takes place in rural Japan. Despite the very traditional setting, the game takes steps to acknowledge modern takes on farming and seeks to create a gameplay loop that doesn't waste the player's time, while still bringing fun mechanics to the table. Players will need to collect their own water and generate power for various things on their farm using very modern technology, such as solar panels and robotic drones. The visuals look great as well, with the anime side of things coming through in the character portraits. Also, customization is a big feature here, as it is in these kinds of games, but an anime game like this definitely wouldn't be complete without a robust character creator. If you like what you see, then you can expect to grab this one during Q3 of this year. The next game is Roots of Pacha, and is being developed by Soda Den. This is definitely one of the more unique games on this list because of its setting. Players take the role of a character living in the Stone Age and helping their tribe survive and prosper. The game features a fully explorable primitive world filled with prehistoric creatures and a budding Neolithic community. Players contribute to their tribe's success through food gathering, caring for animals, and coming up with new cutting-edge technology and tools. These ideas might be commonplace today, but back then they were radical and state-of-the-art. Some of these are simple, such as digging irrigation lines for the crops or riding animals, but others become more complex, like food preservation or metalworking. As the player develops the tribe and village, they will see the growth around them and the impact it has on the community. Also, it features multiplayer, so you could do all of this with up to 3 other friends. Apparently, the beta for backers starts in April of this year, and the devs are looking at a 1.0 release in late 2022. The rest of these games all suggest a 2022 release date, but unfortunately don't give anything more specific as far as I could find. Harvest Island is being developed by another solo dev named Yobob. This one was interesting to me because you play as a set character, named Will, trying to survive and explore the island with his father and sister. It's described as a semi-farming game with some emphasis on taking care of animals and planting crops. However, the other main feature of the game is exploring the island and gathering your offerings for the gods. The weather and day-night cycle plays a role with the environment and when certain animals appear. The tides also affect the exploration because throughout the day, certain areas will be open up as the tides reduce and be cut off as the tides roll in. I thought this was a cool feature, but it might be annoying depending on how it's done. One thing that worries me is that Yobob is concurrently working on another game, and I wonder how that might affect the quality of Harvest Island. There is a demo already released for people to try, and it leans more into the story of the game than anything else. It seemed interesting and is worth a try to get a very small taste of what the full game will offer. Coral Island is yet one more farming sim game that has island in its name, and, go figure, takes place on an island. This one is being developed by Stairway Games and personally has been on my wish list for some time. All the standard stuff out of the way, there were 2 main features that I liked about this game. The first one being the ability to dive into the ocean to save the coral reef. Underwater exploration, if done right, could lead to some cool gameplay and probably players will learn something along the way about coral reefs and their importance in the real world. The second thing that really had me gravitate to this game is not gonna lie, the character portraits. Each portrait is lovingly drawn with a very Disney-esque look that I really love. Honestly, when it comes to these kinds of games, I much prefer the characters to have portraits than not, as I feel it just allows for so much more expression of emotion and personality. It's been in development for a while now, so I'm hoping we'll actually see it come out this year rather than being pushed into 2023. Next up is Potion Permit, being developed by Mass Hive Media. Instead of farming though, players take the role of a brilliant chemist who uses their knowledge for healing. In their day-to-day, players need to diagnose patients and create potions in order to cure the ailing. To create potions, players gather resources from foraging or fighting enemies. Along the way, the player develops relationships with the townsfolk, and as is usually the case with these games, maybe finds their better half. Progressing the game will grow the town and unlock more areas to explore for much needed materials for the player's various potions. Combat plays a role in this one as well, with a need to upgrade your weapons and hopefully some fun encounters. This game originally caught my eye with its beautiful aesthetics and its unique take on the life sim RPG. The Ranchers is the next game and is being developed by Red Pills Studio. The game boasts a large open world and at first glance seems to take place in a modern version of our own world, but has some fantastical elements thrown into the mix as well. There are plenty of vehicles to drive around to explore this huge place that seems to be teeming with life, both humans and wildlife. I am wondering how much depth the villagers will have or if they'll act more like The Sims. It does seem impressive though. I also really like the feature to build your house completely from scratch and customize it any way you see fit. This is nice considering many of these games don't allow you to mess around with the room layouts. There's also combat in this game as players explore ancient ruins. I felt it was a bit out of place given everything else shown off about the game, but then again it's not really that far off from other games like it. The release date is a bit more muddied than just 2022 for this one. I came across an article suggesting a release this year, but I can't seem to find anything official. A Kickstarter apparently will launch soon, and hopefully we'll know more then. The last game on the list is Little Witch in the Woods, being developed by SunnySide Up. Players take the role of Ellie, an apprentice witch who must complete her studies in order to become a full-fledged master of spells and potions. This game, like Potion Permit, doesn't really have you farming or anything like that, but has a greater focus on foraging. Ellie needs to hunt around for potion ingredients in order to complete the tasks at hand with helping the community. And while there is no caring for cows or sheep, Ellie does have a natural connection with cats, as it is with witches, and can make friends with an assortment of cats. Not sure if this has any gameplay effects, but it certainly is cute. And cute is what the devs are going for here, with a very charming look to their pixel art and character portraits. As far as the release date goes, well, I kinda cheated with this one as there is no official release date. Originally the devs had planned for a 2021 early access and an early 2022 full release. That didn't happen, but maybe they'll still be on track for a release late this year. And that is my list for upcoming farming life sims of 2022. Out of the ones I found, I was most excited for One Lonely Outpost, Roots of Pacha, and Coral Island. Are there any that you found interested and wouldn't mind playing? And how do you feel about these kinds of games in general? Love them, hate them, or just don't care? Leave a comment and then let's talk about it. If this helped you in some small way, then please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, or whatever it is you feel like doing. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.